Hi guys, welcome back to the ARTISTA podcast. If you live in Reno, chances are you've already seen her work everywhere, from Sierra Water Gardens to the co-op and so many local shops around town. She has so many stories to tell and I really hope you enjoy the podcast. So welcome, Mary.
I'm grateful to share my story. When I reached out to different artists asking for their help, and I was really moved by how many people shared with me different tips and tricks, and I just want to pass it on. You know what I mean? Yeah. It feels good.
So when did you start?
So my son was developmentally delayed. He didn't really start talking until he was 4. And I decided to explore alternative education. And I found out that we had a Waldorf preschool here. And I enrolled him and I volunteered. And mind you, prior to becoming a mom, I was in the business world. I got my bachelor's in business. I worked in corporate world for maybe 12 to 15 years. And when I had my son and he started going to the Waldorf school, I started doing needle felting and watercoloring, and I'd really never done art before. And I fell in love with nature, and I did a 180 with my life. I know I was no longer working in the corporate world. I was just a stay-at-home mom. And one day I accidentally broke his ceramic handprint on our mantle on the fireplace. And I thought, you know what? I should try and recreate it myself. So I bought some clay at a local store, and I had a friend that had a kiln, and I made it. And I thought, you know what? That wasn't too hard. Nobody really does this locally. I should do it for parents. So I started a little business called Little Pumpkin Potter, where I took feet and hand impressions. And I had people come to my house, or I would travel, and I did it for 5 years. And it was a great way to get to know how to learn how to work with clay, because I used low fire clay, super easy. And before I started, my mother-in-law said, "Oh, I have an old kiln. Do you want it?" I was like, "Okay, sure." And it just slowly got me into making, and it was really therapeutic. Like, it really helped me with my frustrations, with what I was, the uncertainties about my son. And I just really fell in love with making. And then one day I was making some magnets, and my friend Kelly Vogel says, "Mary, you should try and sell those. I think that you could sell those." I thought, really? So I went to our local Sundance bookstore when it was off Keystone many years ago. And I was trying to find a book on quotes, and I found a book that really resonated with me on bereavement. And that's where I first learned about Rumi. I found quotes by him, and I was really touched. And I thought, I would love to print his quotes on clay. So I started seriously with my own line in January of 2010 on Etsy. Yeah.
Wow.
And it was just original pieces. And that's when I fully committed. But before that, just to back up, in addition to doing the hand and feet imprints, I taught art to children for 5 years. I knew nothing, and I dove headfirst into learning about how to teach art to children, and I really learned through them. But I would have maybe 3 to 5 classes a week, and I really made it to where they were learning terminology, and they were learning about amazing artists, and they were working with all different kinds of mediums. And they were kind of like my guinea pigs to learn through them. And it was one of the best experiences of my life.
But how did you get into that? Like, how did you have the doors to get into?
Because of Waldorf. So
okay.
I actually had a preschool program in my home with a Waldorf teacher. And I met so many parents. And I also met a lot of parents doing the hand and foot imprints. Mm-hmm. And then I thought, I really want to teach art. And I had no experience, and I just learned through them. And I devoured, YouTube and books on teaching art. And that really opened up my world a lot. And I did it for 5 years, and I loved every minute of it. But I found that it was a little challenging raising my children if they got sick. It was hard to cancel a class. Mm-hmm. And because I was committed, to a weekly schedule. The kids would sign up for year-round, except for the summer. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to focus on making ceramics. That way, if my children are sick, they have something on a special event, I can put it down, and I can easily have my life be more balanced. So I started making seriously in January 2010 when I opened up my Etsy shop. And it did really well. I started getting wholesale And then Bespoke found me in Truckee, Heather and
Okay.
Brian. And that really kind of skyrocketed because so many shop owners from the United States go to Tahoe and they go into Bespoke and they would find my work and then they'd want to carry it. And so for about 2.5 years, I was doing really well. And I thought, I'm going to ask my husband, my late husband, Corey, why don't you join me? I mean, this would be amazing if we could do this together. And
at that point, you were doing it full time on your own?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, in addition to raising my children. And he didn't really think that it could become what it did. He thought, eventually he was like, you know what? Okay, let's try it. And at the beginning, it was a little hard because I had my way of doing things, and he was a really smart guy, and I kind of had to let go of that control. And eventually, he took over all the making. I mean, we made together for a while, but it got to the point where it was just so much more efficient for him to make, and I would design, I'd do all the shipping, the marketing, and we did that without any other source of livelihood for 15 to 16 years. While we moved to Austin, Texas, where we homeschooled, and then we moved to Phoenix, and it was so much fun traveling and seeing different parts of the United States, and we moved our studio many times.
That's wild, because I thought you were only in Reno this whole time.
And our wholesale business just kept building and building because one of my favorite things is visiting shop owners, getting to meet shop owners and going to their shops. So whenever I can, if I'm in a city, I love to just connect and build a better relationship with them. So we did that for quite a while, and it was an incredible experience. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't expect that to be like, I thought you were in Reno most of the time. And
Austin, Texas for a year, and then from Phoenix for 3 years. And then we came back to Reno.
And did you actually establish in those spaces too, like selling wholesale to places?
Oh, we kept doing, yeah, that was great because then I could go find shops in person. You know, because my life was so busy, shops usually reached out to us if they wanted to carry our goods, which was wonderful. Sometimes during the slow season, I would reach out to shops, but most of the time shops would find us in other shops, or they'd see me on Instagram, and that's how they would find me. I really didn't hire anybody or really pursue finding shops. Only sometimes during the slow times of the year where I kind of panic.
Yeah.
It would happen like, oh, sales are slow, I need to, but yeah, so.
So this whole time, you started doing it full time. You didn't even know you wanted to be an artist. You
No,
were in the
no
corporate world.
art. In fact, I had friends that said, don't go to school for art. You will lose something because you'll be making other things and you just have your own vision. And for whatever reason, I'm like, okay, I just really had a drive, and I loved making. It was so much fun, and it was fun for my kids to see that for me as well. They got to see me pursuing something that I loved and becoming an entrepreneur, and I think it greatly influenced them as well.
How did they feel like when they were seeing you making? Did they ever try to like join you making?
Oh yeah, so when I did my art classes, they would join me. We did a lot of art together, and I tried to open their eyes up to art all over, not just creating art, but looking at buildings, clothing design, just so many different ways of looking. Music, yeah. But Waldorf is really and my son is really what kind of took me on a different path.
Would you ever go back to a corporate job?
Well, what's interesting is about 2 years ago, events happened in my life where I really felt like I needed to put my foot into something a little bit more secure. And it's not a corporate job, but because I don't really want to go back to, I'm not going back to the corporate world. I found a job at our local food co-op, and doing finance and HR, which is what I did in the past. And I love the co-op. I've shopped there forever, and I get to work from home most of the time. And so it's been kind of a godsend. And I started out full-time, and now I'm part-time. So it's been great. But now I'm ready to start making ceramics again.
Okay, so tell me about that.
So when my husband passed away, he really set the bar high because he was such a good craftsman. And I felt a little intimidated at recreating what he did. And there were also some different things that came up that made me think that, you know what, I don't even want to make ceramics anymore. I decided I'm not going to do it. And I was really going through a lot of grief. And after a certain amount of time passed, I thought, I don't have to make what he made. I'm the one who started this. I'm going to make what feels right to me, and it's time to make something new. You know, we together made a lot of items that are out in the world, and I just feel like I'm ready for something new. I also want to be excited about what I'm making. I just don't want to, make a lot of things without my heart. And so now I found a space thanks to some wonderful people in our community, because where I live, I don't have a home studio, and I'm slowly getting to know clay again, because it's been a long time, and trying to figure out, okay, what kind of clay do I want to use? How do I want it to look? And it's slowly unfolding, but I'm getting really I am excited about it. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So do you feel like people are going to compare it all the time, or like miss what you were making before?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I have a lot of shops that contact me, asking to make the same thing. And I mean, that's okay, because I think change can be hard. And there is no way I'm going to make compared to the scale that we were making before. I want a balanced life. Eventually, maybe I could hire 1 or 2 people to help, which would be amazing. But I just really want to feel good about what I make and what I put out into the world. And I just want it to be true to me, So I think there's always going to be people that want what was before. And that's just that's okay.
Will you still be able to leave the door open for that too? Like if you get like custom order, can I get just this?
Well, you mean like the old design?
Yeah.
Well, I'm still trying to figure out what clay I want to use. Who knows? It may look similar, but the really one of the main reasons why is there are other people who were inspired by what we did, and it's already out there. So that's another factor as to why I just want to do something fresh, something new, mix it up,
Yeah.
It
And
may
that's
not
more like limited, that was done, and now, it's a different...
Exactly. And it may not appeal to as many people, and that's okay. I want to make pieces that I'm happy with, and if people appreciate that, want to buy it, then that's great. I don't really want to make something to fit into this is what people want.
Trends.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I really want to follow my heart. So.
Okay. Oh, I'm excited for you.
I'm excited too.
I want to see how it's going to turn out.
I'm going to start sharing soon.
Okay.
Yeah. I've been doing a lot of test pieces. And I love at the beginning when you start working with art, your mind is you just want to write it down. Like, I don't want to lose that idea. So I actually had that last night. I couldn't fall asleep till almost 2 with all these ideas flooding my mind, thinking, oh, I've wanted to try that for so many years. So I feel like now I have the space. My kids are grown, and I have the space to experiment and try all these different ideas. There's just so much cool inspiration.
It's so
out
much,
there.
especially for artists. You have so many ideas, and you want to try them all. And
Yeah.
if you're like crafty too, and
Yeah.
it's like, I feel you.
Yeah. So I do, one thing that I didn't stop is when Corey was making all those years when I wasn't making, like I made jewelry for a while, and it was awesome. I got to learn how to solder, but ceramics break. And if your earring drops or a necklace, I decided, okay, I'm not going to do that anymore. So I thought, what else could I do? I learned how to screen print. I started screen printing textiles. I screen printed a ton of t-shirts, tote bags, aprons, and I did that for a while. I got a little disappointed in the quality of the t-shirts. I might revisit that in the future if I can find something that lasts a little bit longer. And then I started making stickers and cards. So I was actually designing them. I wasn't printing them. I found some really great vendors that do that, companies, but I still offer my cards and my stickers, which I love doing. Yeah. So I still offer those on my website and some wholesale shops.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about wholesale, because that's like my...
Let's talk about wholesale.
So how, when you started, you got all these, like you're traveling, you got in a lot of stores just by, going in person and talking with the store owners, and then finding you on Etsy. How many stores are you in right now, or are you in any stores?
I think the most we were in at one time, it was 200 plus.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And that really was the bulk of our sales during most of the years, except for when COVID hit. Our retail sales then surpassed wholesale. So it could have been higher. I just didn't, I didn't pursue that. Like I said, the shops came to me, and so it was around 200. It might be a little.
So you had 200 stores.
Yeah.
How many product were you selling on average a month?
Oh, you know what? I'm trying to remember. It would vary depending on the month. Like the end of the year, well, maybe like July, September, we would usually have a cutoff for our shops so that we could make sure we could meet demand. But we sold thousands and thousands and thousands of pieces for doing that for 15 to 16 years. So usually Corey would make about 500 pieces per kiln load, and we were firing 1 to every 2 weeks. So, and our pieces that we offered a lot of different products over the years, but our best sellers were our wall tags, and you can fit a lot of wall tags and also magnets into the kiln. So, yeah, we sold.
That's amazing. I still see them at Sierra Water Gardens. That's where I see them
Yes.
all the time.
In fact, they're going to be one of the first shops to be able to offer my new line when it's,
I can't
because they've
wait.
been so supportive. Yeah.
So in Reno, what other stores were you at when you were selling?
I'm at the co-op. I was at Sundance Bookstore for many years, and they're no longer here. Oh my gosh, I feel like I was in Moana Nursery many years ago. And there's been a couple other shops. Nevada Fine Arts has some of my pieces. There was a shop down south, I can't remember the name, that closed. Trying to think of anybody else in Reno. I hope I'm not forgetting anybody else. Yeah, I think that's it.
Have you ever tried to get into like big corporate?
Oh yeah, we were.
Okay.
So yeah, I have a fun story. So when we were in Austin, Anthropology contacted me. We were offering cheese trays that had screen printed patterns, and they carried our cheese trays for a while.
Okay.
Yeah, and then Banana Republic carried our wall tags. We sold quite a few wall tags to Banana Republic. And Nordstrom's around that time contacted us, and I turned them down because I did not feel like we could meet demand, and I didn't want to promise something. And they were pretty disappointed. And what I learned, Ellie, is that working with small shops is just such a better experience. A couple different reasons. It's just a better connection. It's more personal. You get paid a lot faster. And it was a little disappointing on how Banana Republic displayed our pieces. It was just a very different experience. I prefer overall working with small shops.
Small shops.
It's just, it's not a fad. It's more of a long-term commitment to offering our goods in their shop. So yeah.
Yeah, it's wild though, because I feel like all these like big corporate businesses should support more small businesses too, and like have more local handmade stuff.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they don't look at us as like humans and like
No,
people that are
just
making
next
stuff.
kind of.
Yeah.
It's a different way of offering products. You know.
Yeah.
I prefer small business. Like if we offered our products at Target, it just become very diluted, and it's not as special. And the more you scale up, the less the handmade quality. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
So my new line probably will look much more handmade than what we were offering before, and I think people will actually appreciate that. Because a lot of times people would say to me, oh wow, I thought these were made in another country, and because Corey really dialed in, so our work was really consistent. So yeah.
Well, when you make things for so many times, it's a lot easier to become like a perfectionist to the craft that you're making. So
right, exactly. Yeah, he was definitely good at doing that. And I'm sure you already know this. One thing I learned is don't surprise store owners by bringing in a bunch of things. Either contact them via email, or call them and find out a good time. What I would do when we would travel, and I'd be like, oh my gosh, this shop is amazing. I love to carry them. I just bring in a card. And then if they want to open it up right then and there, then I would share with them more. But I try to be really mindful of their time and not be domineering, like trying to push my products. I don't know. Also, I never really felt like a salesman through it all.
I hate that part. That's
Yes!
my worst nightmare. Yeah, I don't want to like feel like I'm trying to sell you my art, because this is my art. It's not like something I'm not selling you a house or something. I'm really selling you something that I make.
Right.
And I'm just not trying to like come up as like a salesperson, because that's not what I am. Just an
Yeah.
artist.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely a dance that you have to, I don't know, also believe in what you do, but at the same time, just let it happen naturally, you know? And like I said, a lot of people just approached me wholesale wise.
But you were doing this in a time where the imported stuff wasn't as much as it is right now, or it's just what I'm thinking? I don't know. I feel
That's
like
true.
in the past few years.
That's true.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So back in the day, people were a lot more, sourcing in the States.
Right.
And right now, in the past few years, when you're still doing wholesale after COVID, you still did it after COVID a few years, right?
Yes. Right. Like, for instance, our wholesale shops in Canada kind of waned down, or we didn't have as many sales from other countries. But before that, oh my gosh, on retail on Etsy, we used to sell all over the world. It was surprising. Australia and Canada bought a lot of our products. But sourcing, I get a lot of things locally, clay, but I'm sure that they're affected by imports and all that. I've been away from it for a few years, well, maybe a year. So I'm not really, the only thing I can think of are like the magnets that I know that they're having import issues. But other than that, I really can't think of anything.
I ran into this problem when I was trying to sell my stuff wholesale, where I like reach out by email, then I go in person, and just I keep getting refused. Maybe my prices are a little higher too.
Yeah.
But also they like prefer to just outsource them.
Yes.
So that's like heartbreaking at the same time.
But it is a reality. Yeah, I would, a handful of times shops told us that our prices were too high, and I thought our prices were very reasonable, especially for being handmade. I think that a lot of shop owners buy things from other countries and they just get used to a certain price point, and they see that as the norm.
Yeah.
And I just really appreciate shops that source local goods. And
I was reading about
artists.
this. It's called price anchoring. So they're like anchored in this idea of like how a price should be based on where they're sourcing from mostly. So if you're sourcing, from China, and you think like 50 cents is for a magnet, then that's your idea of pricing. So you're anchored in this idea of like prices being so low, and like quantity, more quantity, less price, like cost. Whereas like if you're ordering from me more, you're not giving me like an advantage. I'm not going to give the cost lower because you're making me work more. So it's not, they have this idea of like work and quantity, from a different country with like a local person that is actually making their product.
Another thing too is I really vetted the shops that I would work with. Just because somebody reached out didn't mean I was going to offer our goods to them.
Okay.
I would really look at their website and their Instagram. Well, number one, I'd make sure they're not too close to another stockist, another shop. And then second, I think, is this a beautiful shop? Is it beautifully curated? Because if it's not, it may not be a good fit. Is that? Yeah.
Do you care for like them like carrying mostly local, or?
Yes. If they carried a lot of things that were just purchased from out of the country, from China, that are mass produced, I would not work with them. And that's okay. I just didn't think it would be a good fit, So it's okay to be selective.
Okay.
You just don't have to go with whatever. Because more than likely, our goods may not do well there. People are used to lower priced items and may not have an appreciation for handmade goods. So
it depends who your shoppers are too. Because if you're,
right, exactly.
Yeah, 100%. And then when you're selling on Etsy,
Yeah.
How did you feel about, I know there's a lot of talking on Etsy fees. I know they were probably a lot different back then, but how were you feeling back then and how are you feeling now?
Well, I raised my prices. Another thing that changed with Etsy is they really started to push shops that included, that offered free shipping. So shipping, as you know, just keeps getting more expensive and expensive over the years. So then I decided, okay, this is definitely affecting our net profits. So I decided to subsidize a portion of the shipping, but raise our prices. And with the fees increase. That's just kind of a reality of business. And I've done so well on Etsy that I decided to continue. But I also decided to open up my own website. And so I started a newsletter to really reach those customers to avoid those Etsy fees. But honestly, majority of the sales come from Etsy, because I just have so many loyal customers that shop on Etsy and prefer to shop on Etsy. So as of now, I'll be on Etsy for a while. Yeah. Etsy's been a really good platform to offer ceramics.
Do you know how many sales you have on Etsy right now?
You know what? I don't know. I should know that.
I'm
I
gonna
don't
check
know.
it and
Okay.
post a picture on it.
Okay. And I have to say that so at the beginning when I started, I don't know if anybody remembers this, there used to be a front page where there'd be a collage, like a treasure. I think they called it a treasury. So different people that were on Etsy would create treasuries, and I think it was like 9 different, you'd choose 9 products. And so Etsy would sometimes put that on the front page. And our pieces were often in treasure or collections. I can't remember what the term was. And it just felt so handmade. And then they started to open up it to really reducing the quality of handmade goods. That was a little disappointing. However, it's still been a great platform to get our work out into the world for sure. Yeah.
It's definitely a lot of people buying on Etsy. And like if you have your own website, it's good, but you won't get the traffic that you're getting on Etsy.
You won't. Unless you really are on your game with
like social media.
And honestly, I started to get burned out about that. I want to spend a lot of my time making, and it just started to, and maybe I'll find something different this time. But yeah, it's definitely a lot of work to do that.
Yeah, it is, especially as a maker. It's easy when you just buy your product, but when you have to make it, you have to like be the business person. You have to make the content.
A lot of hats. Yeah.
So many things that you have to do in order to sell your product that you're making. So.
Right. And it is nice when you can talk to your other artist friends and brainstorm and find out their tips and tricks. And that's something I've done over the years. But I will definitely, as soon as I have a product that I'm ready to share again, I'll have to dip my feet into exploring that and figuring out what's the best way. So
it's exciting when you're starting over and you're just starting from scratch, and it's the excitement that you're having.
There's a little, well, like with anything, when I create, I really need a lot of space and solitude. I feel like I do really well working by myself. When Corey and I would create, we'd work in different areas. He usually had the garage that was converted with the kilns and everything, and I would be somewhere else in a room with a large table where I would box up orders, and then an area for me to paint or design. And so I do best when I can really just get into that zone of making. And because of working at the co-op full-time and now part-time, I have the space to do it. But yeah, it's tapping into that space of making is one of the best things I've ever experienced. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, and it's in everybody. It's just making
you just need to get started.
You just need to get
in there.
That's it. And I remember over the years, I had a lot of friends who would be inspired by what we were doing, and they'd want it to be perfect before they would start. And I'd say, just start. Just make a bunch of mistakes, and that's how you you learn. And I'm teaching myself that. Like, okay, Mary, just start. Start. And so that's what I've done.
It doesn't have to be perfect. You just have to like get it out there and see how it goes, and then change things as you go.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pivot as you need to. So.
So
Yeah.
remember when we were emailing back and forth and I was trying to send you my wholesale catalog?
Yes.
Tell me, I love your wholesale catalog. I feel like it's so easy to read. I was trying to like copy that and kind of like, make it similar because I really like the way that you organized it.
Thank you.
How did you come up with that?
Okay, so when we were in Austin, Texas, that's when our wholesale had really taken off. I had a shop that said, Mary, it's time to create a catalog. Because before, I think I basically had an Excel spreadsheet listed with the items. There were no photos. And Colin at Artisan's Bench is the one who kind of nudged me and said, it's time. So I remember seeing someone else's Word catalog. It was created in Word and saved as a PDF. And I thought, okay, I really love the layout, and it inspired me to create something similar. And it did really well for many years. And now, because of my children and learning more about AI, I feel like it could be done so much more efficiently. It won't lose the look, but there has to be another software or something to help me with updating it, because updating it was very tedious before. And we had a lot of we had like 300 plus products. So I was always wanting to add new quotes, and, just every year. And so I haven't figured out yet what I'm going to do for my new catalog, but I'll share with you once I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
And then how are you taking the pictures?
So one thing I learned early on is just natural light, natural light, natural light. And I had some people give me some really good feedback from the beginning. Just use my iPhone.
Wow.
And I just make sure that it was really good light and really clear. And it probably could have been more professional looking, but I just tried to make the focus be on the product and not have really busy background. And moving throughout that time was a little challenging because you'll get a space that works really well. And then you move and you're like, okay, where's this new space? So I would sometimes do things outdoors, but what I found is I wanted a consistent background, which was a white wall.
White wall, okay.
A white wall. I'm very, keep it simple.
Yeah,
I
it is
love,
the best.
and I feel like our product was so simple that it appealed to such a wide audience. It wasn't really busy. It was just black and white, super simple. And I'm very keep it simple with whatever I do.
So you need just an iPhone and a white background?
Just an iPhone on a wall. And what I would do is I really would crop it to make sure the composition is really balanced. And then I do a filter for lighting just to make it a little bit clear and brighten it up a little bit. That's it.
Wow.
Yeah. Super
Amazing.
simple.
Yeah.
Just make sure the time of day, just practice like earlier in the morning or the day. And I can't remember, it's like a southern or eastern window. I think it was usually a window that faced on the east side. And I've tried different things, but I feel like a white background. When I first started, I would put my pieces on a concrete floor, and it was right by a window, and I would take photos of that, and then eventually I went to a white wall. Just something super simple.
Don't overcomplicate it.
Don't overcomplicate it. But there are so many other ways of doing things. Like my friend Rhiannon Wolf Art, she does things, and she'll take photos out in nature, and she paints a lot of things in nature and animals. So what I do may not work for everyone else, but I have found that it works really well. Like the focus is on the words.
And I feel like it works very well for Etsy too, because I think
it's uniform. When you go into the shop, it's very cohesive the way everything looks.
Yeah, I agree with that. But it's hard to sometimes you overcomplicate it. I feel like you end up in
Yes. And another thing too, I had a friend that suggested have some photos where it's actually in the environment, in someone's house. So maybe it wasn't always on a white wall, but here and there I'd have like a magnet on a fridge. You know what I mean?
So you show it in
Yes, in the environment where it's going to be used or...
And how do you feel like that presentation kind of helped you over the years?
I definitely think it helped. It was just very, aesthetically pleasing. That, it was easy to look at and find. Just like I said, the focus should be on the words, because that's really what the work is about is just like hitting your heart, you know, and finding the words that whatever is for yourself or a gift for someone else, that's really what I want people to be focusing on.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you changed the prices over the years a lot.
When I first started, I had a price. I went wholesale and I thought, oh, wow, this is way too low. I need to go higher because with wholesale, it's doing 50-50. And then, so I changed it early on, and then I changed it again once we incorporated some of the shipping costs into the price on Etsy. And it's interesting because I would see other makers offer it for such a higher price. I wanted it to be affordable. I definitely wanted to be able to make a living off of it still and pay our bills, but I just wanted it to be affordable as well.
So how did you find that affordability and like still making it
just
worth it for your time? And
just
cost?
looking at all the expenses that go into it and seeing what the profit margin was and overall how much we're making every month, and okay, is this gonna feed us? And
can you share like the profit margin you were comfortable with?
It varied over the years depending on where we were sourcing our goods. I'm trying to remember like our expense. Our expenses would vary between 30 to 50% of our sales. But like I think I mentioned earlier, our best year was COVID. Yeah.
I remember that like retail stores were doing so good during COVID.
I think people wanted inspiration, but yeah, that was our highest sales year for sure.
So I know you were telling me in the beginning wholesale, not consignment.
I did do a little bit of consignment at the beginning. I was just new at it and I thought, oh, okay. And then after we started to have a lot more shops, there wasn't consignment. I just realized this is just not really worth our time. I want to be paid up front for our goods. And if they only offer consignment, then we're just going to pass. But at the beginning, I did.
Okay.
Yeah,
And what was your consignment? Like, would you do more than 40-60 or?
It was usually like 60-40, sometimes 70-30, but it was usually 60-40. And I just, I know that works for some artists, but it just eventually, I just felt like
I think it would be a nightmare for you to have 200 stores and do consignment.
Yeah, it's just, yeah.
It's hard on consignment because then you have to go and count your product and see if something is missing, kind of keep track of.
Exactly. It's just more work. And I was just trying to keep it simple.
Yeah, I love that. That's why I'm like, I'm not doing consignment. I'm sorry. Mary told me.
Yeah, right, exactly. You can say that.
How did you get into the Riverside Farmers Market?
I think I just basically applied. I remember we moved back from Phoenix. I think that's when I got into that market. And oh gosh, I adored working with Cassie. And she just made the market so great. And the market's still great. And it was just, I love connecting with the community. And it was fun for me to get out and talk to people because I usually worked from home a lot, a lot of isolation. So I believe I applied and I was happy that I got
What
in.
year was that?
I think that was 2018.
Whoa, that was a long time ago.
But don't hold me to that. I'm not 100%
Was it
sure.
before COVID or after COVID?
It was before COVID.
Okay, so it must have been because COVID was 2019.
Yeah. So, yeah, and that's such a great market. So you
went to the old location too?
Yes, the McKinley Art Center.
Nice.
Yeah, that's where I started at.
So how was the market for you in the beginning? Like, were you making sales? Were you getting?
Oh yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
I was doing T-shirts then as well, in addition to the ceramics, and the sales. It all depended on the time of the year, but the beginning of the market, the season, the sales were really well. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a good market. I feel like if you want to get started and you have like good product, you have to kind of meet the criteria for the market. But if you're handmade, if you're organic, I feel like it's a good way to start.
Well, the superstar is beloved bread.
Oh, big time, big time.
That line
I love them.
is long, and I get it because their bread is pretty tasty.
And they still have a line, and they have like a location in town.
I
They
know.
still have a line
Yeah.
of bread. That's just insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, good for them.
Really,
I'm
the
so
food
happy.
people, vendors, yeah.
There's
do
so
well.
many good stories at the market. I feel like people are growing a lot from there.
And you know, our products, when I would do the market, are all over. And so it would be so wonderful to hear people say, oh, I was just in Hawaii or Salt Lake City, and I saw your products there. And it was, even though we sell our products in Reno, it was just so great to talk to people at the markets. I didn't have to do the markets, but it was just, I enjoyed doing the markets. And usually I would share, not all the time, but I would share a booth with my friend Rhiannon. It's just nice to collaborate with a friend, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I love that market.
It's good. It's giving like validation for your art, and you kind of get that like feedback in person.
Yes.
You see the excitement on like people coming and seeing your product. And
and when people cry and share their stories and what certain words mean to them, and that's pretty rewarding and touching.
Yeah.
I've gotten a lot of emails over the years from people about our products, and it's pretty moving. Yeah, it just feels good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. That's my reason I'm doing markets too right now. It's like I just want to get like the reaction. Like people are just reacting crazy to my product.
Yeah,
Not to
of
purchase
course.
it. I'm okay with them.
Just
but
they're moved.
yeah. Just enjoying the art and seeing
Yeah.
it. That's very validating.
I do have one thing. I don't know if it's okay to share this or not right now. When I started doing Etsy early on, I felt very compelled to be very open with my story and why I started doing art. And one day I remember Etsy sending out a mass email about how important your story is. And they used my story as a example.
Oh, I love that.
And that really validated how I believe that people want a connection. They really want to know the person, and they're more likely to buy your product when they know you a little bit.
And they know the story behind it.
Yeah.
And it just makes it more meaningful.
It really, and over the course of many years, I've been very open about my life in different areas, just to share my story and build that connection with the people that follow us. Yeah. I think it's really important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big time. Did this ever happen to you where someone were trying to copy your design or third party?
Well, I have a story for you.
Okay.
I don't remember what year it was. I really loved this artist's product. She had triangles on her product, and she did textiles. And I had purchased some of her products, and I thought, I would love to put triangles on ceramics. So I made some screens with triangles, and like on cheese trays, and I loved the way it looked. And she saw my work and started like a mass bullying towards us. And we had been on a blog, I think Anthology's blog had posted about our work. It was an amazing post. And she went on there and got a lot of people to follow. And it was like a cyberbully attack. But it was a really humbling experience because there's two sides to everything. And overall, it was really great for us because it got a lot of attention to our shop.
Yeah, I know. Negativity is not always
exactly
bad.
But it really made me realize I don't ever want to treat another artist that way. We do not create in vacuums. We are inspired by each other. Yes, there is respect and there are copyright laws. She doesn't own a triangle, but it taught me how I want to how I want to interact with other people if I feel like, hey, you're copying my design. So we did have another maker on Etsy who just flat out was copying our work, and I hired an attorney, and they closed their shop.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I didn't ask them to close their shop.
Yeah.
I think they took the products out and eventually, whatever reason.
So do you like own the copyright for the product that you're making?
Well, my understanding is with copyright law, when you make something, it's automatically, I can't remember verbatim, but when you make something and it's out there in the world, there is already, but you can do patents and trademarks of that sort. But I don't own the words that we put on the products. And that's something too that I've learned over the years that you have to really be mindful of. But like for instance, early on, I remember Carl Sagan, I had some of his words, and he's no longer here, and his people were very upset about that and contacted me. And again, it was a great experience. I learned I really need to be knowledgeable of what the laws are and be respectful. So I just didn't know at the beginning.
And especially you were a small business. You didn't think it was going to go this big.
I just thought, oh, if you credit someone, you're good.
Yeah.
So that was another learning lesson. But yeah, no, that triangle experience really, it was hard. I was like, oh gosh, you know, people are attacking me. But in the end, it was a really good learning experience. I just did not want to treat another human being like that. You can have a grown-up discussion about it respectfully, you know, and that's what I tried to do if ever I felt. And there were other people that were inspired by our stuff, and it was blatantly, and it's just, I mean, I was inspired by Rae Dunn at the beginning. I loved her work. I remember seeing her work at Renegade in San Francisco, and I thought, okay, I want to do something similar with words, but I'll, instead of doing lowercase, I'll do uppercase or whatever and make it different. And she was, I remember reaching out to her, asking her questions, and she was wonderful. And now she's kind of like she works with other companies that she designs it, and she no longer makes, I think, for the stuff. But it's all little lessons, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, we don't create in vacuums. We're inspired by each other. So in a way, you can look at it as a compliment.
Yeah.
And maybe it's time to move on and make something different.
Talking about your work and how you protect it, you told me you had like an experience with someone that worked for you.
Yes.
How did that happen? Tell me the story.
You mean before on Etsy or
so
recently?
You had an employee or recently?
Okay, so right before Corey, my late husband, passed, we were training someone, and she was going to be working with Corey. I was going to be stepping away for the business. I was going to let Corey take the business. And we both showed her a lot of things to do. And then after he passed, I had the decision that I could work with her, possibly. That was an option. And I decided that, you know, I'm just really particular about, I want to do what I want to do, to be really honest. And I don't want to collaborate. And I decided that not to pursue that. And unfortunately, that person pretty much decided to just copy what we were doing, even though I had asked her not to. And at that point, I realized it's time for something new. All good. I'm fine. And I didn't even know at that point if I was going to make ceramics, you know. It took me several months to get to a point where I thought, you know what, I think I might try that and see where that goes. So, you know, I could have gone to a place where like, oh no, nobody's going to do it. I'm going to get an attorney. And I really want some peace in my life.
Yeah.
And they're really excited about what they're doing, and good for them. So I just feel like life is really short, and that's a sign for me not to cling to something. It's time for me to let go and open up for something new, and that's what I'm doing.
Reinvent it.
Yeah.
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 But generally, I feel like if something like this would happen, you would normally, like, you can sign documents like a non-compete agreement. Or...
Yeah, none of that was done.
Okay, now...
There was a lot of chaos during that time. I don't really think there was a lot of clear decisions being made in my life at that time. So, yeah.
That happens.
It does, yeah.
But it's good not to hold any, like... You know.
Yeah, no.
And you seem like pretty in peace with it, so that's good.
Yeah. No, just let go. Yeah.
So is she selling?
Oh, yeah. She sells on Etsy.
Oh, on Etsy, okay.
Yeah.
At least she's not like...
And she may have, like, some of my old shops. I have no idea, but I wish her well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wild, though. Like, if you go in stores in, like, local, I don't know, like a direct competitor. I don't know. It's good that you're not holding anything bad, but like it's bad that
it's just,
I don't know.
It's just kind of how it unfolded, you know? And yeah, I don't want to carry that around, that poison, so.
Yeah. So do you feel like artists in general, when they start something like this, they should protect their art legally more than anything?
Well, like I said, you can protect it just by making it and putting photos of it out there. There's different ways to look at it. I mean, if you're making a lot of money doing that, you're probably going to have an attorney to do that. But we're so influenced by each other. So, and there's companies in China that do it maybe without even you knowing it. You know what I mean? In today's world, I just say go make some art, have fun doing it, and learn as you go, and don't overthink and be fearful. I mean, I know fear is just a natural emotion, but just being stuck in fear of somebody copying you. Because honestly, a lot of people, that's how they start. They copy somebody else and then they morph it into their own. And that's just kind of how it works. I have to tell you, so I have a friend who introduced me to Claude. I don't know if you're familiar with Claude, Anthropic. And I was very hesitant to try using that. And it is a game changer. It is just like YouTube. It's just another resource that can help you learn how to do something. And you don't have to take everything verbatim, but it's really helped me research things in all different facets of my life. So I use that now. Yeah.
Okay.
Technical, relationship, food, just a lot of different. I think it's pretty cool.
Well, I haven't used it yet.
It's very cool. Yeah.
Okay.
I recommend it.
Has art changed meaning for you through difficult seasons of life?
You know, from the beginning, art was always an outlet for me to get out of my head, and just creating is one of the best experiences that I've ever had in my life. Just having that freedom. It feels so good to create something when you're not, especially if you maybe are struggling with something in your life and you can just take a break from that and create something. You know, art, yeah, it's fun. It's hard to find the words. I can't imagine life without art in so many ways. Even music, after Corey passing, has been one of the best things to help me process my grief and just find myself again. I love architecture. Art to me it just makes our life so much more interesting and beautiful. And it does not have to be expensive in any way. It can be super simple, you know? Just what we look at, what we focus on. I never thought about it really much before my son went to that Waldorf school, Heart to Hand. I mean, maybe I did, but I don't feel like I was conscious of it.
How old are you when that?
Josh was, I had Josh when I was 31 years old. And he's probably maybe like 34 when he went. Yeah, I think it was 3 or 4. But yeah, like sunsets, just all that, you know, that stuff I love looking at.
It just comes in so many forms.
It does. It really does. Yeah. But poetry, yeah, I had no idea that the depth of insight that people have put into the world about different experience through love, loss, how it helps us, we help each other through words, you know? That's one thing I'm really grateful that I've discovered, just the love of words and how it can help heal people's hearts. You know, I'm gonna cry, but I think discovering that it really helped me with my late husband taking his life. I think that had I not gone that route, had I still been in the corporate world, it would have been a very different way of me processing what had happened. I definitely think that it helped me, for sure, come out of that.
It's a very sensitive topic. So,
yeah.
But it's definitely a healing source. And I'm like so happy for you that you're in this, place right now, trying to reinvent yourself and start over. I'm very happy that you're finding the strength in art, because that's beautiful.
It's funny, this morning I thought about how much working with clay helped me. It was therapeutic when my son was younger. And I thought, well, isn't that interesting how now I'm going back to it and it's going to do the same thing for me. Yeah.
You're finding you're healing all the time into that.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It is very therapeutic, I think, for anybody to create things.
To create and do things with your hands, I think that's the most.
Your hands, your heart, and yeah, for sure. Yeah.
It gets you into a different state when you were making things with your hands.
It gets you into the present moment, and that's really what I have found is really what this is all about, I know we have catchy phrases like "be here now," but as I've gotten older, I'm 57 now, I feel like that is where the gold is and the juice, and just being right here with you and talking to you and being grateful for that. Yeah.
Get the best out of this moment.
Exactly. Yeah. Some moments are hard, but just being open to it. Yeah.
I agree. Yeah. So thank you for being here.
Of course. Yeah. Of course.
So your current chapter right now, you kind of told me a little bit that you are going to start again and you're going to launch soon. When should we expect that?
So I was hoping by next month, but based on my recent time in the studio, I'm thinking I'm going to push it now to July. I don't want to rush it. I really want it to feel right. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I just really want to be happy with, as far as the clay I decide, and whether I'm stamping the words or screen printing and any patterns that I'm adding. I'm also discovering some new techniques that I've never used that I really have always wanted to use. So I'm not wanting to rush it. And I'm really grateful that I have that time so we'll see, July.
July.
Yeah.
And then where should we expect seeing them?
Instagram,
okay.
So what I'll do is once everything is on my website, I'll announce it on Instagram. So it'll be on my website and on Etsy. And then I'll roll it out. I'm only going to roll it out to some of my shops, not all of them, the ones that have been very loyal, because like I said, I'm not going to be making as much. And then we'll see as year to year and adding more shops. But I don't want to, I want to set myself up to succeed, So, yeah, that's the plan.
That.
Yeah.
So the store that we should think about, if it's not on Instagram or the website, it can be a Sierra Water Gardens, maybe?
Sierra Water Gardens and Bespoke for sure.
Okay.
And there are some other shops too. I haven't talked to them, but those two shops, absolutely 100%. Bespoke and Truckee, and then Sierra Water Gardens here. And then, of course, the co-op too. Yeah.
Nice. I love that. Well, I'm super, super excited to see what you're coming up with.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for being here
today. Of course, thank you. Yeah.
Is there anything that I'm asking you like to mention?
The only thing I would say, and I know we talked about it before, if someone is watching that has wanted to start their own business of making goods and selling it, just jump. Just try it, and you might start, because I look at some of my old products, I'm like, ugh, but that's just, I was experimenting, and they were exactly as they're supposed to be. It's fine. It takes a while to figure out what it's gonna look like. You may not even know at the beginning, but just start. That's all I have to say. And don't overcomplicate it. Keep it simple.
Yep, keep it simple and go for it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, that was amazing.